What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Show and Go podcast, where we bring you all of your MLB The Show and Major League Baseball news. I'm your host, Blake Anderson, almost three-time World Series champion in MLB The Show, but I choked last night. That's besides the point. We got Ryan Jones and Anthony Steller-Harter with us today.
What's up, guys? I'm Anthony, 7-time Division Series champion. I'm just too consistent.
I'm Ryan. I stay an all-star because I only play 2 games per season.
All right.
Won them both.
Nice. We got some top players on this podcast, you know. Just the upper echelon of MLB The Show ranked seasons players.
See, you got a little bit of everything. The guy that dominates the shitters, Ryan. You got me that tries to be good but gets dominated by people that are half decent at hand-coordinated skills. And then you got Blake, who's just unstoppable once he gets into CS.
Yeah, once I get past 700, bro, it's just uphill from there. I mean, I faced postseason Charlie Morton yesterday with a guy who was barely over 500, so, you know, it's really just the top level of competition in the 800s, and you can't make mistakes. It's as simple as that. Today, we actually have our first sponsor for episode 2. It's actually our own product. We just came out with it. We're kind of in beta testing, but it's actually called Show and Go Swipes. Ryan, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so Show and Go Swipes are centered a product for you. If you ever hook up with maybe a 4, 5, you're usually batting around 700, but you drop down and you had a bad day, just want to get it over with, just swipe on, swipe off, and boom, you're in and out. Easy as that.
So for some of you who may be confused, this is not Roman swipes. These are not meant to make you last longer. That is not what we're doing here. These wipes actually have pictures of your favorite baseball players on them so you can finish faster.
Big integrity move for us to sponsor ourselves for our podcast.
Yeah, well, we figured that this was the biggest audience we were going to get, you know, like we could have picked the Joe Rogan podcast, we could have done Section 10 starting 9, but I mean, why start there? Why just not start with us, you know? We're betting on ourselves. But yeah, the swipes will be available soon on our website, and they're going to be cheaper, faster working than any other swipe that you might have known. I mean, and I'm pretty sure they protect against anything that could go wrong during sex. So, I mean, it's a good investment, to say the least.
I personally go with the Matt Chapman edition, just the fastest possible.
Yeah.
Anthony, what's your weapon of choice?
You mean the Platinum Glove edition?
Oh, yes, Platinum Glove.
Yeah.
I go with the Cuban Missile edition. Based off of Aroldis Chapman, go as hard as you can when you go.
He has you have like the 104 miles per hour like on the side of it. It has like a pitch clock.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, well, that's our first sponsorship. And today we're going to keep talking about some MLB news. We're going to be discussing the United States of Baseball event. We're going to be talking some unfortunate baseball news with Randy Arozarena. We might even break into some predictions and some of our favorite cards so far, so stick around. All right, what do you guys think of the United States of Baseball event?
I think it's a huge dub that they made Cody Bellinger like a big wanted card, only at 20 wins. And then we finally get that 99 Jake Arrieta card that we discussed last week was not a possibility.
Yep. I definitely freezing cold takes myself there. I literally said, I was like, yeah, we're probably not going to see one of those this year. You know, we didn't see one last year. I think I said that he Aubrey huffed himself, basically. And that's just simply not the case. Maybe he didn't push it far enough. Maybe just telling immigrants to go back home wasn't crossing the line. You know, I mean, it was 2016. That's a long time ago. So maybe that didn't cross the line. I don't know.
I think we overestimated MLB The Show's morals after they gave Josh Hader back his 99 from last year. Of course, they would give back a 99 Arrieta.
Right.
Did that.
Exactly. The moral integrity is now squandered. I mean, and baseball's just such a pure sport, like we said last week. There's no integrity problems at all. You just
Manfred has caught every single person cheating who has ever cheated in the game.
he has, and think about the suspension rate. Every one of them has been suspended. Not a single one of them has not been suspended.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Flawless, man.
Flawless. That's a great, immaculate would be a good way to describe Manfred.
He's probably a 12-0 player.
Now this might be a dated reference. He's a 21-0 player.
Yes. Oh my God. I never even dreamed of doing that.
No, that sounds impossible. Like it took, like top players couldn't even do it. Like I feel like Pitching Rebel did it like twice. Like,
and that is a month-long commitment to play that many BR games.
Yeah,
and
24 games.
If you lose in the teens, that's just soul-crushing.
Yeah, that was an insane grind. Like, when did they change that? I think in 17 they changed it to 12-0, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and was it 21-0 or 24-0?
I believe it was 21.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's insane. Like, you'd have to, like you said, that's like a month-long grind. Like, I don't know the last time I played 24 BR games. Like, that's tough.
I'm trying to remember. Did they even have the rating thing, or was it you could get matched up against anyone?
I think they had the rating thing.
Okay.
That was before like they changed the ranked season though, because they still had it where, like, I don't know, the ranked seasons before 17 were like kind of confusing. Like the rating was in the thousands, and I didn't really understand it at the time, but once they switched it to the 0 to 900 rating, I think it's been a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I think the event's a huge dub because I haven't wanted to play events since events started. There's just been no interest. It's such a good idea. Like it's honestly a great idea by MLB The Show, and I just have had no interest whatsoever because I feel like in most cases I don't like being restricted with the team, and I know that's the whole point of events, so that's kind of why I shy away. I just like using my God squad, like it's tough for me to use the lower tier teams, and I don't really like the 6-inning games, and so a 3-inning game on All-Star is usually okay, but there hasn't been any reason for me to play events, and now I actually want all the rewards this time. I mean, Bellinger is probably going to start in my God squad outfield because Griffey is hit or miss with me. I feel like he's either a homer or a strikeout a lot of the times. And Bellinger has the great defense, and his Player of the Month card might be my favorite card this year. So I'm definitely going to grind for that. Arrieta and Verlander are going to be endgame starters because they both have sinkers now. I don't know if you saw that. Verlander's 5th pitch is a sinker. Verlander's 5th pitch is actually a 2-seam. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how viable it will be, though.
I don't either because the 5th pitch I've noticed is it's tough to use. Like a lot of times it's that changeup or like the pitch obviously they throw the least, and it seems like there's a huge drop off between the 4th best pitch and the 5th best pitch. I mean, maybe it's just me, but lately like the changeup or slider in that 5th spot is awful. Like it just hangs, and those are the pitches that I give up home runs with, or I hit home runs with. Like last night I hit a homer off of postseason Charlie Morton's splitter because it was just down the middle, and it was like batting practice. So it's like I'm trying to stay away from those 5th pitches, but I use changeups a lot against lefties, so I don't know. But I think Arrieta is going to be super solid, especially since we haven't seen him in a while. I don't think hitters are going to be able to adjust to him quite yet, especially on Hall of Fame. Verlander's a different story because we see him every year, and hopefully that sinker's usable, but his stats looked great. The control was great. I mean, almost a flawless card. Who are you most excited for as the people that they've released so far?
I'm ecstatic for Jake Arrieta because I wasn't playing when he had a 99, and last year I had zero interest in his 94 because I think it was a World Series card, so it was expensive all year. And then by the time I really saved up that much stubs. I just had better pitchers already, so I'm really excited for his 99 this year. Like you said, like I'm actually excited to grind events again, which is crazy to think about. But yeah,
I believe Arrieta was a headliner last year.
you're right. Yeah, you're right. That's my bad.
Yeah, it's all good. Personally, I think Bellinger's the one I'm most excited for, just because we know his swing is awesome. He played super great last year, and it should be around the same this year. And he's a lefty that does really well against lefties, which is where I usually struggle with lefties. So that should help a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think I don't know. I'm definitely going to use Bellinger. Like, he's probably going to go straight into my lineup because, like you said, he's got a great swing. But I think I am most excited for Arrieta because we haven't seen that card in a long time. Hopefully I can get to that 40 wins. I mean, that's a big grind. I hope they leave the event on for a while. I feel like this would be the one that you wouldn't really need to change that much because people are going to be playing it for a while to try and get that Verlander. Normally the events last, like a week? 2 weeks maybe?
Yeah.
I would like to see this one go like a month. I don't know what their plan is as far as the Central and East are like. I don't know if they'll have different rewards or if it's going to be an entirely new event. I kind of just assumed that these three would be the awards for that entire event. But now that I'm thinking about it, the Central and East could have different rewards, right?
Potentially, but how are you going to come up with 6 more cards that are on this level that haven't come out yet?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I don't think there are any, especially because they just dumped a lot of the high diamonds in the headliner. I still don't really understand why Arrieta would be in the West event if there were multiple rewards. So I'm assuming that these are the same rewards for West, East, and Central. And maybe that's just the players you're allowed to use. Like, I'm assuming you're only allowed to use West players or in this event, and then maybe at the end of this event it'll be you can only use Central players. I mean, that's what I'm assuming, but I guess we'll find out more today. We're recording this an hour before the event drops, so we don't have all of the information yet, but I'm definitely excited. Like I said, this is the first time I've been excited for events all year.
I was looking at Twitter just now, and a lot of people are hoping that it's last year's finest Bregman for 80 wins. What do you guys think about that?
That card mashed.
That would be a cool card. Yeah, definitely a 5-tool guy.
With that shortstop secondary too, he could be one of the best shortstops. There's not a lot of shortstops that mash lefties that have a good swing, I've noticed, because Tatis is really good against righties. Trey Turner, really good against righties.
I think the best one that I can think of is Ripken with like 123, 106, which isn't that great.
But people hate his swing.
I hate his swing.
I hate his stance.
Yeah, I think Seager hits lefties well, but he's a lefty. So
yeah,
at the end of the day, it's can you hit lefty, you know?
So I have the stats on that Bregman right here.
Mm-hmm.
So against righties, he's 98, 108. Against lefties, 125, 125.
That's really solid.
What's his fielding again?
83 fielding, 87 arm strength, and he has 124 vision, and then he has 61 speed.
Yeah, that would be a nice card to have at 80. I honestly, I don't know if I would go for him necessarily. I think it would just depend on how close I was. Like, if I got Verlander, then sure, I would probably want to go for Bregman. But I think the rules of this event will definitely decide how much I grind. I'm hoping it's 3-inning games on All-Star. That would be huge, so we don't have to do 6-inning games.
I would love if there's like no max cap like overall for the team, like just 99 overall team for it.
Yeah, that would be nice because then we're already restricted by the geographical location. Like, let's just max it out. Make a god squad of West teams or West players.
Exactly.
So I'm excited about the event. How have you guys been doing with some of the run it back players?
I bought Eckersley. I didn't feel like doing the showdown or conquest. I just
Right, it's ass.
wanted him right away. And so far, I think I've used him in 3 different outings. He's gone 3 innings, 3 shutout innings in each of 3 different games total with like 5 or 6 Ks. So he's really solid. To me, I compared him as like a better Raleigh, honestly.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for in that card, honestly. I struggle a little bit with Raleigh because I think people have seen him too much, and so hopefully Eck would be a nice change of pace. Yeah, I haven't tried any of the new ones because I don't know if they're gonna make my team. I think Eck was the only one that would make my team. I think Cargo looked really nice, but no reason for me to use him.
What about the 99 hater? I forgot. I got him as well.
Oh yeah, I always hit Hater, so I don't know if I would want to pick him up, but I mean, what's your experience so far?
I used him in also 3 games. In only one of the games, I just accidentally hung a slider down the middle to Nelson Cruz, who's maxed out. So naturally, it was destroyed. But other than that, he's been pretty solid.
Well, that's good. Yeah, hanging lefty sliders to Nelson Cruz is just begging to be crushed. No shot that doesn't go out.
Exactly.
No shot that doesn't get perfect to the warning track.
We have breaking news from NASA, actually. The ball still hasn't landed.
Really?
Yeah.
It's just floating in space.
Exactly, yeah.
Wow.
Defying gravity.
That's impressive.
Also, Nelson Cruz is still slowly trotting the bases, actually.
Longest home run trot of all time. All right. So the 11th inning program just dropped recently. I think I was expecting, before they announced anything, I was expecting some sort of Verlander, Eckersley combo, but now that Eckersley's in the run it backpack and now we know Verlander's in the event, I think it's kind of cool seeing all the old bosses back, especially on a program you'll be able to grind all off season when there's not really any more content being released. What do you guys think?
Yeah. It gives people who didn't get a chance to get certain guys to get them. Like, I know a few people that weren't able to get Griffey in the last program. Maybe say if you picked like Harper, now you can take Frank if you didn't have enough stubs to buy him in the first place. So now you can have both. So I think it's pretty cool what they did. Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, it definitely fixes some market problems because guys like Larry Walker were going for like $400K, I think, at one point. And also, something that not a lot of people have noticed is that the henchmen are back in the program as well. So that if you're working towards Trout still, that really helps because a lot of those guys were impossible to find in the market.
Yeah, I did notice that because now all their prices tanked. Wish I would have known that before I bought Keith Folk for like $50K, but no big deal. You live and you learn. Speaking of the market, I definitely thought that the bosses would drop in price now that people saw that the bosses would be available again. Like kind of the buyers anticipating the market trend. But that's not the case. A lot of them have gone up in price. Griffey went up like $100K. Ortiz, Walker, and Rivera's are all really expensive. Kenley went up like $100K. They didn't drop at all, and I was assuming that they would because why are they more expensive now that they're available again? I know that most people haven't gotten that far in the program yet, but are we just not? Is it just delayed, or are the prices just going to stay fixed?
I think it's delayed because a lot of people probably anticipated that they would have access to all the bosses sooner in the program. they thought it would be like a big choice pack with like, I heard somebody say rare rounds with like the later inning programs like Griffey and stuff, and base rounds are the first few innings, and that made sense to me, and I think a lot of people bought into that, and so started selling early. And now that they're a little bit later in the program and nobody's reaching them yet, they're trying to buy them back, and it's the demand is going up, but the supply hasn't gone up yet, but it will soon.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I literally did the exact same thing. I thought that's how the program was going to be, and then noon hit, and and I'm on MLB, so I checked the program, and what do you know, Griffey's sitting there, and like all the other bosses, and I'm like, damn, I should sell some of my bosses that I don't use and buy them back later when they're cheaper. And so I'd already sold Kenley, and all the other ones were locked in, so I'm like, I don't really have anybody to sell, but I was like, I'm not doing too hot with Griffey, so why don't I sell him, and then when he drops, I'll buy him back. So I sold him for like $212K or something. You know, it might have been the next day or a couple of hours, but I realized I was like, I kind of want to keep using Griffey. And I noticed, I was like, he's 1,000 stars deep into the program. Like, I might not even get there. So, like, there's no guarantee I get the second one. So I go to buy him back, and his price went up. It went up like 20K. And I was like, oh, I played myself. So I buy him back at 240. And I checked yesterday, like a week later, or not a week later, but decent amount of time later, and he went up over 100K, and I'm like, thank God I fucking bought him back. I'd have been kicking myself if I lost Griffey and I lost 100K. That'd be tough. But that's why I don't invest in the market very often. I don't know. I am excited to see some of the other bosses. It would be cool to check him out late in the year, but realistically, I don't think I'm going to grind the 11th inning program that hard. I'll probably do... I've done the showdown. I'll probably do the conquest, and then from then on, just play ranked. I'm also one away from the finest collection, so I can't see myself selling any of those, so maybe I'll do that later down the road, but I don't know, man. It's the same bosses. It's November. If anything, I'm more excited about the event.
I agree, which is live in the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, it is, so I guess we gotta hop on that.
You don't have all three by today. I'm disappointed.
Dude, I gotta edit this podcast. I might not even get Bellinger. I guess we can get into some unfortunate MLB news. So I guess Randy Arozarena was arrested on kidnapping charges in Mexico.
Of his own child.
Right, of his own child from his ex-wife and father-in-law, or ex-father-in-law. Honestly, I don't know how much there is to say as far as opinions wise, just because there's so little information that's been released so far from the police and from the situation. I mean, we don't know what he did. There was supposedly a skirmish, like a physical altercation. We don't know the extent of that yet. We don't know the situation that the daughter was in to begin with. It's just unfortunate that it came to that he felt like that was what he had to do in the situation. Hopefully they can get it sorted out, and hopefully the daughter's okay and they can really figure it out. And I mean, I would love to see him play again, but I think we've seen in the past that when domestic violence stuff becomes involved, the suspension usually comes, and it's up to the team whether to decide they want him back or not. I mean, for guys like Aroldis Chapman, people wanted him back because he's really good. But then Domingo Germán gets caught with something like that, and then for some reason they're just like, oh, yeah, we're going to punish you, So, granted, I understand the situations are very nuanced. They're very different. But at the same time, I think it would be nice to see some consistency with the punishments from teams. But at the end of the day, they're professional athletes, and normal people can't do what they do, so teams are going to pay them no matter what their past is, in most cases. It's unfortunate, but what do you guys think?
I don't really know what to say. It's kind of...
It's a tough situation. I don't really know what to say either. I mean, like,
It's really sensitive.
yeah, like,
I just don't think we've gotten enough information to really have an opinion on this yet. All we know is he was arrested.
Did you guys see the video that leaked? There's a cell phone video of him holding his kid, and they were all talking in the street, and the police pulled up. But it looked like he wasn't endangering the child in any way, which is good. But, I mean, he definitely took it too far in trying to forcibly remove the kid from the rightful home.
yeah, I didn't see the video, but that's really tough. But I think that's pretty much all we can say is that there's, we don't know enough, and we might not know enough. I mean, they might not release some of that information to the public. I mean, we'll see. Hopefully everything gets sorted out and everything can get back to normal, I guess.
Charlie Morton.
Charlie Morton, yes.
Signing with the Braves 1 year.
Yeah, how much was it for?
$15 million.
$15 million. Okay, that's what I thought. So Charlie Morton signing with the Braves for 1 year, $15 million. I think that's a solid deal. I think he pitched well last year. I think he didn't show any signs of slowing up. What do you guys think?
He pitched better this past year than I thought he would. 100%. He definitely exceeded my expectations. So definitely deserved and earned. And honestly, the Braves just got quite a bit better.
Absolutely. He underperformed if you look at his FIP. If you're a guy that looks at all that. Fun stat: he actually outperformed Trevor Bauer in the last 2 seasons based on WAR, and he's getting a 1 year deal. While Trevor Bauer probably not going to sign a 1 year deal.
He claims
There's
he
a lot
is.
of speculation about that. But.
Yeah. I think that's the Braves rotation was solid before, and now I would say they're deep. Like, they've got some good options, especially if Soroka comes back healthy. They'll be exciting to watch next year for sure. I think Morton's just impressive, man. I think him, like, he was hitting high 90s, like triple digits occasionally, and like he's what, like in his 30s?
Late 30s.
Yeah, like that's almost like Verlander level. Like, Verlander had that drop off where he had that dead arm phase, and he came back and now he's pumping high 90s, and Charlie Morton's doing that too, and I'm impressed. I think you look at a lot of guys that make it that far in their careers and they are not pumping high 90s. Like, and I mean, his breaking ball is his best pitch too. So I think he's built a nice little back end of his career for him. And hopefully he can do just as good as he did last year. I think the Braves are in their window to compete right now. Their pitching looks solid. I think their bullpen was decent. I think they're in a really good spot. I mean, Freeman just won MVP. Like, they've got Acuna, Albies. I think losing Osuna would kind of suck. I think that would be somebody that would be a good one to try and get back, especially if they continue the DH in the NL. You can just DH Marcell Ozuna, but he's going to have a lot of suitors this year.
Yeah. Did you see that we might finally get back some Yasiel Puig in baseball?
Yes, I did see that.
He signed with his new agent is Trevor Bauer's agent, actually. And reportedly, the Red Sox, Astros, and Orioles are all interested in Puig. What do you think of that, Blake?
I like Puig a lot. He was exciting when he came up with the Dodgers, and watching him play is always really entertaining. I would love to see him in a Red Sox uniform, especially, no Mookie or anything. We could use another outfielder. I think JBJ is probably gone as well. I think I don't really think that's a secret. So getting Puig for like a cheap deal would be huge. I think that keeps the outfield depth the same for the Red Sox for the most part.
I actually think he's a really good fit with the Astros, with them losing Springer most likely. Brantley, most likely, and Josh Reddick, probably. So that outfield's kind of barren outside of Kyle Tucker, and obviously they have Jordan coming back to DH. But I think Puig would slide in pretty nicely there in right field. He's a good fit, and he'll distract from the off-field issues of the organization with his excitement and his play, and he's a big personality, and I think that's a good fit for the Astros right now.
Yeah, that would make perfect sense. I think it's going to be really tough for the Astros in the next couple of years. I mean, whenever you get a big core like that that's got multiple elite players, and they're all going to hit free agency within the same window, it's really tough to keep that core intact. I mean, their window might be closing this offseason because, like you said, the outfield is getting torn apart, presumably. Correa's got 1 year left on his contract, and they're already talking about trading him before his contract's up. So, I mean, who's left in the core? Because Springer's gone, Correa's presumably gone. Bregman, is that the guy that they decide to keep around as a fan favorite? I mean, that's great and all, but I mean, are they really that good with just Bregman left from that lineup? Like, I don't think so. Their pitching has been really promising. They had a lot of young pitchers that pitched well in the postseason, so maybe they're still competitive. I don't know. I just think that their window could potentially be closing soon.
I think you're forgetting about a little detail, a little guy that is probably going to stick around there for his entire career because no other team wants him.
Yeah. I mean, Altuve's solid. I just don't think, I mean, that guy had the yips in the playoffs. That was tough to watch. Like, I think for a lot of people it was hilarious because it was just like cheating karma, but it's tough to watch somebody with the yips. It's like it sucks because that they've practiced their entire lives doing one thing and now they can't do that thing for whatever reason. And that's tough to watch, but he'll be fine. He'll recover, hopefully. And yeah, I guess you're right. I guess Altuve is a good candidate to finish his career with the Astros, but at this point, I think that core that they built up is shaky now at this point and might be broken up. I think the Cubs are almost running into the same problem. I think they had a really good core when they made their World Series run, and they haven't had quite the success that the Astros have had since they won. But they're floating around Chris Bryant trade ideas. I mean, I think the Red Sox were in on Chris Bryant talks. They wanted him to play left field. And I think the Nationals were in on it. I mean, Chris Bryant should not be in a uniform other than the Cubs, in my opinion. I think that's a huge shame if he does.
But I think the Cubs don't deserve him.
That's fair. That's fair.
They kept him down that one day too little. They had Mike Olt as their starting third baseman, and they argued in court that he was a better option than Chris Bryant at that point, when Chris Bryant lit the world on fire in spring training. Made no sense, and they're just they are taking their lumps now, and it's about time. He should be a free agent this offseason.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. I think the call-up rules in the MLB are, might need some adjusting because teams are doing that where they call them up as soon as they get that extra year of control, which is super frustrating from a fan's perspective. And, I mean, can even hurt the team in that single season. And like you said, like they argued that in court, so it would be nice to see some adjustments because obviously I expect every team to take full advantage of that. I'm not expecting them to change that. I guess I'm saying that MLB might need to adjust the rules so that they can't do that. But of course, there's, fans have been calling for that for a while now, and Manfred hasn't talked about it at all. So, I mean, that's a shot in the dark at best. But anyways, I think with those young cores, like that's probably the best way to win a World Series is draft a really young core, and then once they're ready to make a playoff run, you sign like a Justin Verlander, or you trade for an Aroldis Chapman in the Cubs case. But there's a expiration date on that type of team, you know, because they're all going to hit free agency eventually, and when you drafted that well, they're gonna want some money. Like you're not gonna be able to re-sign. It just doesn't make sense to re-sign your entire core unless they take team friendly deals. Like in the Braves case, like with Albies and Acuna, maybe it's possible for them, but it's gonna be tough, and it sucks because I liked the Cubs a lot. Their 2016 run was awesome. It would have been nice to see them compete a little bit more, whereas the Astros, I don't really give a shit if they're good or not. You know, like they can fade off into existence. It's fine.
Speaking about free agency, do you guys see that the Mets reportedly want to get at least 2 or more of the big 4 this offseason?
I did, yeah. They were in on Real Muto, right?
They were in on Real Muto, and apparently they're in on either Lindor, Bauer, or Springer. What two of those guys do you think are the best fit for the Mets that can make them instant competitors?
Personally, I think Springer is the best fit for a win-now team like the Mets are apparently trying to be, but they haven't had a true center fielder on that team since 2015, 2016 when they had Juan Lagares out there with his Gold Glove. But yeah, they've been putting Conforto in center, and Cespedes was in center for a little bit, and Nimmo. It just, none of those guys were working. They had Granderson out there, I think, when he was 37 playing center field. It was they weren't built as a team. They were built like best players available or whatever, best hitters. They've had awful defensive teams recently.
Yeah.
So with that being said, if you're the Mets, what's your pitch to free agents this offseason? Like, what about the Mets would make them want to sign, you know?
Best pitcher in baseball, richest owner in baseball. So you know that he's going to keep adding and you're going to become a playoff team. Big market city in New York.
I was going to say, be able to play in New York without the restraints of the Yankees.
Exactly, yeah.
I think the owner is a big part there because before you couldn't really say that they were going to build a playoff team. You know, I think they were stuck in the same rut that a lot of MLB teams are, where the owners are just kind of stagnant. And now with a new owner that wants to be involved, that wants to build a playoff team, I think the Mets can make a decent pitch now. That, I mean, like you said, they got DeGrom, new owner. It's looking really bright for them.
Yeah. Blake, I want your opinion on this because I talked to Ryan about it. With Theo Epstein leaving the Cubs and Billy Beane having to possibly leave the A's, I'm not sure if that was official yet or not. What do you think of the possibility of rumors that Theo Epstein could go to the A's?
That would be pretty cool, honestly. Obviously, I think Theo Epstein's awesome. I mean, he broke both the Red Sox and Cubs curses. I mean, I don't think the A's have a curse, but I think that they're in the situation where it would be good for him to come in and help out. I mean, I think he's always been solid. And I think if Billy Beane really is gone, I mean, I think you have to replace him with somebody that's going to do something, because the A's have a window right now where they're going to be competitive. You can't botch that by signing somebody who's just going to come in and do the bare minimum, or kind of try and get their feet wet a little bit first before they make some big moves. I think if you're the A's, you got to get somebody who's going to like draft well and make moves that are gonna be win now without trading away potentially somebody you can't re-sign. I mean, Billy Beane has done the same thing over and over again, and it works for the most part. Like he always drafts really well. They always are competitive. They just haven't made that deep playoff run that I think A's fans are probably expecting. So it would be really interesting to see what the A's look like without Billy Beane, but I don't think there's a guarantee that it's better. I think the way that they draft is always solid, and without Billy Beane, that might not stay the same. But Theo Epstein, I think, would be a good replacement for somebody of that caliber.
I just want to butt in and make a quick correction. I don't think the A's draft well. They draft well in the deeper rounds, but up towards the top, a lot of time you see reports that they took their second best option or something or third best option because of signing bonus reasons and stuff like that.
That's fair.
And you look at recent draft picks like Kyler Murray, Richie Martin was a first rounder, and now he's an Orioles bench shortstop. So Go ahead, Anthony. I know you had something to say.
To go off what Blake was saying, like I said, I don't think it's a guarantee, but I think if there is a guy to help the A's get over that postseason hump, I think Theo Epstein would be a huge addition to the A's to help them get over that hump and maybe make a couple big moves in the offseason and whatnot. He's always done it with big market teams. You could argue with Boston and Chicago that you could argue like this is like a new challenge for him to see what he can really do with like less options there for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I saw that he had a quote saying that 10 years was about what he wanted to do with this job. Like it's any longer, he wouldn't want to continue doing it. I don't know why that's his number, but that's what he said. And so maybe if he stays in the baseball executive world, maybe he does end up with the A's to replace Billy Beane. Because that, like you said, that's a new challenge. I think I think that would be cool. That would be cool to see. Going back to my point about the A's drafting well, I guess I just meant that a lot of their talent is homegrown. And, you know, you got guys like Chapman and Olsen and you got Donaldson, Cespedes, all guys that came up with the A's and then got traded away. I guess I guess I was saying that's more what they're known for. But I think you have a really good point that they didn't really draft well the past couple of years. I forgot Kyler Murray, or I forgot the A's were the ones that drafted Kyler Murray because that was stupid. And then, like you said, Richie Martin and I think, that's a very fair point.
Even in your examples, you named Donaldson, who was drafted by the Cubs and then traded to the A's for Rich Harden, and then Yoenis Cespedes, who was signed out of Cuba.
Right. So I guess I should say that they're better with the guys that they're better at finding guys that they can develop.
They definitely turned the no names into big guys. Like Laureano wasn't on any prospect list. He goes to Oakland and shows up. Luzardo, he was like a lower level prospect, but still they definitely helped him out.
Yeah, that's a much better way of putting that. Is they turn the no name guys into something solid at the major league level, kind of like the Rays in that aspect. They do that really well. So yeah, no, I did forget that Donaldson was drafted by the Cubs because I always think of him. Or I remember him telling a story about being in the minor leagues with the A's and stuff, and that just made me assume that he got drafted by him, but that was obviously not true.
Speaking of the Rays that you just mentioned, the Rays announced that Blake Snell is open for being traded. What do you guys think of that? After losing Morton too.
It's not that surprising. I think he's I don't know how happy he is with the Rays system. He's going to be a big free agent eventually. And I think for the Rays, they're not holding on to him because they know that they're probably not going to re-sign him. Just doesn't make sense. I mean, they compared Sale's contract with the White Sox at the time he was traded to Snell's contract with the Rays, and they're pretty comparable financially. I think they both had like 4 years left or something. And they got a lot for sale. Moncada, Kopech, and then 2 more prospects. And that's a big haul, and I don't know if that type of move is made during a COVID offseason. But if it is, do you guys think they get the sale level return, or do they get something, I mean, potentially better or worse?
Well, as we all know, the Rays literally can't lose any trades. So I think they would get a pretty good haul. I don't know if it'd be on that sale level, but I think they'd get a pretty good haul for Snell.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll get that sale level just because I feel like there's more incentive for the Rays to trade Snell than there was for the White Sox. Like, I didn't feel any urgency that Sale needed to be dealt at the time. But with Snell, it feels like it's a matter of time until he gets traded. And so that if they trade him sooner, then the market might not build up all the way, so they'll have to take a lower return. I just want to point out really quick with the Rays, Charlie Morton, they declined a 1-year, $15 million option on him at the beginning of the offseason. He signed with the Braves for 1 year, $15 million. And we all say that's a steal, right? Yeah. So.
Yeah, that doesn't make too much sense, especially considering the Rays just made a World Series run. I don't know if Rays fans actually exist, but if they're out there, I would be heated. Like, I would be heated that we're not on the offensive going into this offseason. And I get it. That's not really how the Rays work. But I want to see them compete next year, too. And without Morton, that's a huge blow. The fact that they're talking about trading Snell, if Rays fans exist and they're out there, they're pissed because that was their one window. Apparently, it didn't have to be though. They could have competed next year too, and they probably will. But losing pitchers like that, which is the Rays' strength, is going to be tough to recover from.
If I'm a Rays fan, I'm really worried about the World Series loss hangover effect, just because, like you said, trading away Snell already possibly, lost Morton, Randy Arozarena is stealing kids in Mexico. Oh, God. Next.
Yeah, they're falling apart, dude. Like, it's not looking great. You could say that's a World Series hangover for sure. I think it'd be hard to say that there's a World Series hangover for the Dodgers, considering that they've just been rock solid like past 4 years.
Well, did you see that they're reportedly going to try and trade for Nolan Arenado?
I did, yeah. That's insane.
Yeah.
They've got Turner at third and just...
He's a free agent.
Oh, Turner's a free agent. So are they just out on Turner then?
Possibly.
I feel like he would want to stay with the Dodgers, but...
Yeah.
Not after he gave one of them COVID, apparently.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Yeah, that's right. That was the whole conversation about he's a free agent now.
Imagine if it was like Clayton Kershaw's kids that he gave COVID to.
Yeah, like he's gone. No shot.
Yeah.
No shot.
You can't do that.
No. I feel like...
Magic Johnson.
What about him?
It'd be the second time he tested positive for something.
God damn it. Anyways, what do you think Turner's market is? I mean...
Reportedly, the Mets have been in contact with him.
He was on the Mets, right? Like, yeah. I don't know, man.
I see a fit there. I think J.D. Davis is an above-average player, and McNeil can fill in at third if they don't believe in him. But I look at a team like the Nationals, maybe, if they want to play Keyboom at second.
Yeah, and they don't have Rendon at third anymore, so...
Exactly.
I just thought the Nationals were going to be all in on KB, though, is what I heard. So maybe if they don't get a guy like Chris Bryant, they can sign that like a Justin Turner.
I feel like Turner's the cheaper and more proven option, and it's just
That's fair.
Yeah, with Bryant, you're really going for the name there and hoping that you can get his what he won MVP, right? His MVP level production. I mean, I don't know if you get that. Maybe the change of scenery is what he needs, but I kind of agree with Ryan. I think Turner is more bang for your buck there. I don't know. It's hard for me to see him not signing with the Dodgers, but the fact that they're talking about Arenado being a trade target, them just winning the World Series, it would make sense for him to leave. I mean, what else do you have to prove there, you know?
Right.
Just take a big contract and keep setting yourself up. How much would you pay for Justin Turner? Because isn't he's into his 30s, right? Like he's
36, 37. I think he's a guy who could really benefit from the DH moving to the National League as well. So if that's announced, his market definitely goes up to around 20 mil, but I'd say 12 to 15
mm-hmm.
a 1 to 2 year deal.
Yeah, because this might be the last contract he signs. Yeah, he's still solid though. He's kind of like same with Morton, you know. Like I would still want them on my team.
A little trivia or no?
We could do some trivia.
Oh yes.
Okay, I have a trivia question off the top of my head that you guys should already know, but I'm wondering if you do or not, and it should still be accurate. So I'll start us off. Then Anthony, you can be the questions. Okay. Who was the last switch hitter to win MVP?
Vida Blue.
Damn it. I was really hoping that you would know that you would think about a hitter. But that might be the best baseball trivia question, because like the only reason I knew Vida Blue was a switch hitter is because it says on MLB The Show. And then like he won MVP a long ass time ago, so you're like, that is not your first guess. All right, go ahead, Anthony. That one was too easy.
American League MVP, by the way. Chippers won it in that.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Right, yes.
I was supposed to say Chipper.
I knew what you meant, Blake.
Yeah,
I knew what you meant.
Name one of the two teams from the first televised MLB game in 1939.
Televised? Oh God. The Red Sox. The Indians.
Cincinnati Reds.
That's one of them.
Really? Did you know that, or did you just guess?
I mean, a lot of the customs in the majors revolve around the Reds going first. Like,
that's true.
That they played every single first game of the year. So that was an educated guess, as we say.
That's okay. That's fair.
You have a good guess at the other team, Blake?
No, the Braves.
Is it the Cubs?
It is the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Oh, fake team.
All right. How many innings was the longest game in the history of the major leagues?
Was it 26?
Was 26.
That was my guess. God damn it.
Pitcher Jim Abbott threw a no-hitter in 93 despite what physical disability?
He only has one arm.
Which arm is he missing?
I thought he threw... Because he's the guy that had to take the glove off. Like, I think he was missing his... Oh, my God. I don't know.
Right. He was missing his right hand.
So he throws left-handed.
Yeah.
Okay, and then... Gotcha. And then he has a right-handed glove. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
What mascot was named the best mascot in sports by Forbes magazine in 2008?
The Philly Fanatic.
Yep. Both right. You guys should know this one. How many double stitches are there on a single baseball?
I don't know that.
Is it 108?
108.
Oh, that was my dude. I got this. Like, these numbers are popping into my head, and I'm like, nah, that can't possibly be it. And then Ryan says it.
How many times has the World Series been canceled, and in what years?
1994.
That's one of them.
So at least once.
1981.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know it was canceled more than once.
1905.
1904.
Oh. Why was it canceled in 1904?
If I remember, the Boston Americans, the New York Giants were like refusing to accept that the American League was legitimate, and they just didn't want to play them. So they're like, we're the champions of the National League. We're the world champions. So, yeah.
All right, here's the last one, okay? What is the nickname for the time period between 1900 and 1919 when baseballs were soft and difficult to hit long distances?
Dead ball era?
Yes, sir.
If you want to be soft and not last the longest, then go ahead and check out the sponsor at the beginning of the video.
Yeah.
I'm plugging it again.
Show and go swipes. All right, well, I think that's a great place to end. We'll talk to you guys next week. Hopefully we'll have some more MLB news, maybe some MLB The Show content. We're kind of getting to that point in the year where the content's not going to be super frequent, but hopefully we'll get a wish list podcast out for MLB 21, and we'll see how that goes. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the Show and Go podcast. I'm your host, Blake Anderson, with Anthony Steller-Harter and Ryan Jones. We'll see you later.